Jacqueline Woodson, she is a New York Times bestselling author with more than 5 million copies of her work sold worldwide. Her memoir, Brown Girl Dreaming, won the National Book Award. That was back in 2014. And her more than 24 children's books are regularly taught in schools all around the country. So her newest work of adult fiction is called Red at the Bone. It tells the story of how two Brooklyn families cope after an unexpected pregnancy brings them together. Jacqueline Woodson joins us at the table. Welcome. Bravo to you. You were getting rave reviews. I love it when a review uses the word dazzling.
Yeah.
Don't you like that? I like that, Anthony.
I sit up when I see that.
I did too. So Red at the Bone means what? It has a special meaning.
So when I was thinking about that title, I was thinking about the way we are all sort of still in development, still cooking in a way. So in that particular scene where the title gets unveiled, Iris, one of the main characters, has just had her heart broken, and she feels raw, she feels undone.
Yes.
And I think in terms of the human condition, we all feel that at some point. We're all red at the bone.
We were talking earlier about writing against stereotype, and
yes.
What's interesting about this book is we're very familiar with stories where the man, the father, walks away and disappears, and now we have a mother on a bit of a wander. How'd you come up with that?
Yeah, a bit of a wonder to say the least. Yeah.
You know, as a mom, as a person who had a mom, I have a deep respect for motherhood and that sense of what's at stake. And you know, some days we want to walk away. You know, we don't want to not come back. But when I was developing the character of Iris, I asked myself the question, what does it mean to be a mother who has a child very young? And at one point she says in the book, you know, I was only 15. I wasn't even anything yet.
Yeah.
And I think to grow up and realize you have different ideas of how you want to live your life, and making those choices is very hard. But as the author, I had to have empathy for her to show that she wasn't a bad person, that for wanting to have her own life.
And she wasn't in love with the father, too. She said, you know, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life with him. I wanted to have his baby, but I didn't want to spend the rest of my life with him. And it's also, what I like is the historical drama that you brought into it.
Yes.
That scene, the Tulsa Riots that I think most people, I hadn't heard of it for many years. I heard of it maybe 10, 15 years ago. But the way you incorporated that into the story, I think, is really very appreciative.
Yeah.
What made you want to bring that in?
Well, first, explain what it is.
It took place in 1921 in Tulsa.
Yeah, so it was known as the Tulsa Race Massacre. And it was a very established black community that was destroyed by white people who came in.
Yeah, they were black professionals.
Yes, there were hairdressers and lawyers and doctors and bankers. They had their own bank. They had their beauty parlors and barbershops.
A thriving commercial community.
Yeah, and residential community, and it got destroyed. And so with it went all of this black wealth, and this black middle class population just got, you know,
more than destroyed, Jacqueline, they were murdered.
They were murdered. Their businesses were destroyed.
Bombed from the air. Right? An official commission there in Oklahoma says that Tulsa was likely the first city in the United States to be bombed from the air. White men in airplanes dropping kerosene bombs?
Yes.
True story that most of us don't know about. Yeah. Why is that?
I didn't know about it until I was in my 20s. It's not taught in schools, you know? So I think the way we remember history is by having it repeated and having it taught. And I had no idea that this had happened.
Well, that's the beauty of how you tell the story, because you go back and forth in time between the characters through their lives. So you take us on a history lesson, too, while you're also developing the rapport between all the characters in the book. It's a different kind of writing style that you use this time. Yeah,
I was trying to represent it the way life is. I mean, we don't start at the beginning, right? We're part of a continuum. And so it opens with, but that afternoon an orchestra is playing. So we're walking right into the middle of this narrative. And I go back and forth in time to represent that. You know, people don't just meet one day and fall in love. It's looking back at their own histories, and it's because of their mothers. Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the young people's literature. What is the one message? You are the national ambassador for young people's literature. You've been talking to kids all around the country. What is the message that you deliver to them?
What I say is reading equals hope times change. And I do believe that when we read, it gives us hope and it changes us. We're different when we start a book and when we finish it.
That is so true.
Reading equals hope times change.
Yes.
Beautiful. Jacqueline Woodson, thank you very much.
Glad you asked that, Tony. I like that.
I had to throw that in. They were giving me the rap, and I was like, this is one we need to do. Red at the Bone is on sale today.